right, guys. Hello, welcome back to Black Balance Fitness TV. I'm your host, Mitra Marat, and this is Black Balance Fitness presents the Financial Fitness Forum Interview with the Boss. Allow me to introduce our special guest for tonight, a successful young couple out of our Woodland Hills office in Southern California. You've heard them talked about on our very first episode with Rachel Cross, my mentors, top producing directors in the agency, B2G team leaders, my colleagues and friends, Mr. and Mrs. Marques and Christine Franco. Welcome to the show, coaches. And thank you.
Hello, how you doing?
Thank you so much for having us. It's an honor.
I really appreciate you all coming on. So tell us about yourselves.
Okay, maybe you can go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised on Guam. I'm one of three. I'm the eldest. Basically in accounting, and that's been most of my life. And the reason why my husband and I decided to partner up with the companies because of our belief in what we do. We help families change generational wealth to be able to make a difference and make an impact in the world. And you know, I believe this is the platform that allows us to do that.
Wonderful. And Marques, tell the viewers a little bit about you.
Yeah, well, I'm born and raised here in California, oldest of three. And I was a former, obviously, athlete, turned chef, had my own catering at 19, was doing really well for myself, had a lot of questions about the industry, decided to go to culinary school. From there, I ended up going to Le Cordon Bleu, graduating from there, worked at, the Ritz-Carlton, moved my way up and around, became an executive chef at the age of 28 in Beverly Hills. And, from there, just became a youth pastor, was a youth pastor for 5 years, just recently transitioned out. We've been running our business almost, for 2 years here with PHP and getting ready to, take on some new adventures and continue to expand. We've got agents from, Hawaii all the way to New York and everywhere else in between. So we're just, continuing to rock and roll.
Wow. Wonderful. So let's get right into these questions. I'm sure all the viewers are excited for this part. I want to start by asking you, Christine, how important is it to have communication in running a business alongside your life partner?
Wow, that's a very good question. Marques and I, this is an area we haven't perfected yet. So there's still a lot of room for improvement, but in this whole journey, we found out how important communication is. One, because you're in two different arenas. One as a husband and wife, and two as business partners. When you communicating your role and figuring out your role at home, maybe a little bit different at the office. So working together, trying to understand each other, trying to figure out each other's mindset and how each other works, and communicating how you're feeling. And basically, when you're speaking to each other, is to understand or make the extra effort and try to understand where they're coming from. And our story is Marques and I got married in December of 2018. We started the business in January of 2019. So it's 1 month right out of getting married. So there's some things that we still had to learn about each other, still learning how to be a wife and learning how to be a business partner. So it's very important to be able to communicate, because if there's no communicating, there's a lot of things that can fall through the holes and a lot of things that can be misinterpreted. And that's pretty much, it is crucial, because there's a lot of room for misunderstanding. especially since you have two different roles, one as a wife and one as a business partner. So yes, and you know, it's crucial to have open lines of communication. We're still working on it. I could be better at it for sure.
Always room for improvement, but I think you hit on some very, very relatable topics. Like you said, not just as a relationship, but as far as business partners, communication is definitely very important. So, Marques, I want to ask, what methods do you use to delegate responsibilities efficiently?
You want the truth?
Yeah, you know I want the truth.
The truth is happy wife, happy life, right? So I try to talk to her first and really get her perspective on things, and kind of go from there, because our brains work differently. I'm very action oriented, where it's just like, let's go. Yes, I'm a pastor, so I'm very relationship as well, but I'm very action. So for me, sometimes the delegation process might not happen until an afterthought. So I've learned to really talk to Christine and really get her take and her point of view on it. So then at that point, we can figure out together how to delegate, what to delegate, and what to do. Because again, like I said, I'll just go run 90 miles an hour and not think about something, and then realize that, oh, this should have been delegated, this way or that way, or so again, I talked to the boss,
right.
Kind of figure that
one
out.
of those lessons you learn by bumping your head. I can definitely attest to that. I'm definitely one of the people who are like, you know what, I can do it myself, I can do everything, and then you either run into a wall or you burn yourself out. So yeah, learning to delegate officially, definitely important. So Christine, tell me, how do the core values of the agency align with your personal beliefs and goals?
Well, we look at this company and we saw an opportunity to be able to reach a lot of people. My personal values are I just wanted to help people. My goal as a kid was to become a missionary or to work the Peace Corps, to be able to just help people who are not in the best circumstance, but not a lot of them have that choice, right? People who are in some situations, outside the U.S., fall into poverty or fall into, homelessness, or, even an orphanage, but not their own choice. So what I wanted to do was be able to help others get out of that, give them the opportunity, regardless of what you came from or where you came from, to be able to change your life for the better. We looked at life insurance, and in this industry, with what we do, I'm a product of what we do. My family invested in life insurance. They were hardworking folks. They're immigrants from the Philippines. They moved to Guam, which is a U.S. territory, and the reason why they left the Philippines was to offer. They saw America as the land of opportunity for you to change your life. Everyone in the Philippines would like, if I could just go to the States, if I could just go to the States. So I would be doing my family a disservice if I didn't go along the lines and pursue what their intention was to change the life of generations to come. And for me, I didn't want it to leave it just as my legacy to generations to come with me, but to help others to be able to do the same. This platform with PHP is, you're allowed to reach a lot of people. They want you to, they encourage you. There are orphanages, there are nonprofits that you can open up and be able to take part in, something that you can spearhead. So that was something that we wanted to do. And the fact that we're both pastors, reaching the world, even just to give them a better life, share good news, to be able to afford to be able to help others, that's a big thing. And that's what, this company does. It gives us an opportunity.
Absolutely. That's actually one of the reasons that I joined onto the company too. Is building generational wealth is a big platform for me. leaving a legacy behind is an important personal goal of mine. So it really aligned both ways. And so absolutely, I understand where you're coming from. So Marques, what would you say are the most important values and ethics in leadership?
I would say faith and really trust, being your word. In leadership, you gotta have faith even when it doesn't, even when it seems like maybe all hell is breaking loose, or where it doesn't seem like it's going according to plan, or the way that you might have designed it, right, or structured your day, or or anything, right? There's like today, I mean, come on, technical difficulties trying to get on, we just work through it, figure it out, right? So having the faith, knowing that you're not just faith in the system or faith in the structure, but really, I believe, having your faith in the right place, with God, it's huge. And then, trusting, being your word, because if you're a leader and you're not your word, why would your guys want to, follow you into battle? You know what I mean? And if you're not leading from the front and leading by example, making sure that you do what you tell your guys, try to get your guys, right? Show them, lead them, teach them, guide them, grow them, spend time with them. Sometimes you got to kick them in the butt, you know what I mean? But the reality is, they know that when you do kick them in the butt, they remember that it came from a good place because you ultimately want to see them win. Does that make sense? And so the reality is, I really believe, faith and trust. I mean, because if you can have faith and trust, and your guys and gals have faith and trust in you as well, then when coach calls a shot, right, you go. You know what I mean? And so it's just really. The other thing I'll say is this: is when talking about faith in the system, right, and trust. Well, think about this. Mr. Fred Terrace, right, who gave us an opportunity, and he's senior vice president, co-owner, co-founder of the company. Man, sometimes it's tough, but you've got to learn how to trust even when you don't see what he sees. You know what I mean? And understand that he's already been where you're trying to go. And so if you can, a lot of times success will leave breadcrumbs, you know what I mean? But so will failures as well. So learning from other people's mistakes, really, when you come up against a situation and coach tells you go a different way, and but you're hell bent on wanting to go the other way, it really comes down to, do you have faith in your coach? Do you have the trust in your coach's word, to kind of say, okay, you know what, I know I want to go do this, but I'm going to trust and go the direction that they're telling me to go. And I believe that the greatest leaders are the best followers. You take Jesus Christ, he never took credit. He always gave credit to the Father. You know what I mean? And so it was always follow me, right, as I follow. So great leadership has to have faith, because a lot of times when you're following, sometimes you have no idea where your leader is going, but you trust and you have faith enough knowing that they're going to go in the right direction. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think that faith, integrity, trust, absolutely top of the list when it comes to values and ethics, especially when you're leading people, throughout their lives. And, especially what we're doing, building a business, especially, there's a lot of young entrepreneurs out there, not just in our business, but in others. And it's tough, but if you have the faith, you keep your integrity, you trust in the process, you absolutely can make it. So yeah, absolutely. So this next one's for both of y'all. I want you each to describe each other's leadership style in 3 words.
Oh. I would say he's a bull. He's
3 words.
3 words. I'm trying.
You've already said 2.
3 words. He is passionate. He is bold, and he is he has conviction.
Okay. Your turn.
Now I have a question. Am I able to explain my 3 words after I give them?
I'm like,
Hey, my mom always told me.
Absolutely. I will let you.
Huh?
So for your safety, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I need the safety. Well, the first word is kind of 2 words together, thought-provoking. The second one, I would say cautious. And the third one, man, well, I should have probably put this one first. But it's another 2-worder, but it's high integrity. And if I could explain, Christine's got very, very high integrity. Like, you would think, a pastor would remember to always be, above reproach. And this guy likes to have fun. And so a lot of time, there might be a little bit of hey, let's get back in line, right? And when I say thought-provoking, because she leads in a way where she's not going to give you the answer. She's going to make you think about it to get there. If that makes sense, So in a way, she's teaching you how to be a critical thinker.
Exactly.
And again, just the high integrity. I mean, makes me puts me to shame.
Absolutely. I think you guys kind of hit right on. You guys know each other quite well, and top-notch leaders, top-notch leadership. I can attest for that. So, Christine, what would you say are the most important factors to team development?
For team development, I think the right balance, or a good balance, of tough love and empathy. Because you want to still be human and not, have your team look at you as just some tyrannical person who wants to lead. But in order for you to be able to speak to them on a level that gets to your team, is to talk to them like you understand them, that you understand that life happens. Things will happen, things will come and become stumbling blocks in your way, but you want to let them know that my grandma's big on tough love, but there was never a question that she loved us. She was tough. It wasn't always easy, but I think communicating is communicating to your team that the reason why we're pushing a certain way, or although we understand that life happens, we push a certain way because we want you to win. We want you to remember the reason why you got started. We want to remind you of why you're here to begin with, was not to lose. It's here to win for your family, not to leave you the same way, but to leave you where, okay, now it's generational. You pass on generational thought process, victor mentality. You want to teach, you want to be able to teach your team that you can win, that you have the ability to win, and every day that's a choice. And we can't make that choice for our team, and we have to understand that it's hard, especially as leaders, to be able to want to get someone to do something, or win for them. But we have to understand that God gave all of us a choice, so we have to extend that to everyone. This is a choice that you're going to make. Do you want you left where you were to not stay the same, but to progress, one, for your family, to change the legacy of your name. So constantly reminding your teammates and team members that this is what you came here to do, it is key. And to remember that it's not because we're trying to be mean or trying to be harsh when with that tough love, but because you want them to accomplish what they came here to accomplish. And that's what I think is important in team building.
Absolutely. I think when you develop a team, you can't afford to be too soft, because you don't want your team to fold on you. But then again,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be, somewhat human. You can't be tyrannical. We've all seen The Devil Wears Prada. Nobody wants that, right? So, so Marcus, what would you say is the most significant change you've made to be successful?
Die to self. Die to self and really remind myself of my why every single day, to get better, to aspire for greatness. God created us to be great, not to just be average and ordinary. And the reality is, in following Jesus, Jesus stood out. He created us to stand out, not to stand in, not to fit in, right? So when you really think about it, I would say you got to stand out. You got to, you got to just continue to, put your why in front every day, and even the days that you don't want to get up, you get up and you go. That's the biggest thing, is just wanting to personal develop and get better every single day.
Absolutely. I understand that. Staying consistent with that self-love and self-devotion and building yourself. Personally, building yourself is really the only way that you can build and be successful. Especially if you're talking about as a leader. If you can't lead yourself, who else could you lead, right? So,
yeah. And
absolutely.
And to kind of add to that, always having the next goal.
Right. I definitely agree. So Christine, as a leader, who do you look towards for mentorship?
Who do I look to for mentorship? I know I keep going back to my faith in Jesus. I look at how he interacted with people and how he responded to critics and how he responded to certain situations that came across. I mean, the guy suffered betrayal from closest friends, and people leaving him, and he still had a positive attitude. He still remembered his purpose and still moved forward. That a lot of my life and what we do and what I do is guided by that. The other people I look to are, of course, our coaches, Fred and Christy Terrace. We seek out their advice and their guidance because they are at a place that we're not yet. You want to be able to look to people who are further along than where you are. We also a couple of other people that we look towards is Dan and Marcia Elias. They help us process some issues. They're with us along the way. Great coaching. This company there is no shortage for great leadership. The other thing that I look for is I look at Sheena Sapala, because when I had a conversation with her, she made I said, like, how do you go behind, stand and support your husband from behind the scenes? She told me, like, I'm not behind the scenes. And I'm like, what? Like you have to look at it as you're not behind the scenes. You are your own person, and you can be just as great a leader and a front runner alongside your husband. You don't have to stand by anybody. Like, I support my husband. I support his process. I support what he does, and I believe in him. But that doesn't take away from who we are as individuals. So what she did and what she said, that really completely opened my mind. And like, you're right. I don't have to, I don't have to be behind the scenes. I don't have to, follow a norm just behind the scenes.
Exactly.
There are areas I'm strong. My husband is strong in other areas, and we complement each other. And this is why we're called Better Together. We're great alone, but better together.
I love that. And I think that even touches on what Marcus said a little earlier about the creator making us all individual, and we have, we have to stand, on our own and building ourselves if we want to build and grow with the ones around us. So absolutely. And I also like that you mentioned reaching up. If you're the smartest person in the room, that's a room you shouldn't be in, really, so absolutely, I absolutely agree with that. So Marques, what advice would you give young entrepreneurs looking to make a name for themselves in this agency?
Stick to their upline like glue. Put as many people in front of them as they possibly can. If they tell you to jump, ask how high. They say run, how long. Do whatever they say to do, as long as it's legal, right? And really don't be afraid to take a risk. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to commend you today, for this. I mean, you're taking a risk, and the cool thing is, when you become vulnerable, that's when you become strong.
Right.
So many times we hide our insecurities and we don't want people to see, the real us. And the reality is, as soon as you allow this business to kind of, I don't want to say break you down, but really take you down to build you back up. You know what I mean? I mean, you gotta be a blank canvas, an open slate. You can't come in with being a know-it-all. Even if you do have some knowledge and some things like that, use what you have to your ability, but still take the coaching, the guidance, and allow your coaches to coach you and learn how to glean from what they teach you, what you see, and all that good stuff. So really just being a student of the game, knowing your craft and doing whatever it is that your upline, your leader tells you to do.
Absolutely. And I love how you put that. My late father actually always stressed the importance of being teachable, and which is something that aligns with the company. They always say to be coachable. That's important, to be open, to be listening, to be taking it in and applying it. And not just in this business, but in any, if you want to climb that ladder. So my last question to you both is, I want to know, what advice would you give someone looking to join your team? Say they come and they watch the video and they're like, you know what a beautiful couple, I want to work with them. What expectations should they have?
Okay, I'll start. I say be coachable. As Marques has mentioned earlier, be coachable. Even, as he mentioned, even if you know some things, be open to learning other ways to do things, because there's multiple ways. How the saying, it's kind of weird. There's multiple ways to skin a cat. It's just an awkward saying, but that's what I mean. It is true. There's multiple ways. Another thing is that we are a family. We push you because we want you to do well. We want you to succeed. It may be uncomfortable, but we all have a purpose. We all have a purpose, and we're here to help you fulfill that purpose. We celebrate each other's wins. We support each other, and there's some friendly competition.
I just want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, and thank you all for coming and supporting my businesses, my channel on YouTube, Black Balance Fitness TV. This will be posted along with my interview with Rachel Cross as a replay. A special guest for next week is to be announced, so look out for the flyer for that. I want to remind you all that I am your host, Demetra Marques, from Black Balance Fitness and Nutrition, Black Balance Fitness TV on YouTube. Remember to stay physically, mentally, and spiritually fit.